A story came out on Thursday that I found rather interesting and disturbing. DOJ sends military attorneys to Minnesota. DOJ's call for resources in Minnesota include military attorneys, auditors. The Pentagon is asking military attorneys to travel to Minnesota on assignment to the U.S. Attorney's Office, CBS News has learned, after the Justice Department called for more resources to be surged to the state. Is that the clearest sign yet that the military will be deployed to the streets of an American city, to Minneapolis?
It's really worrying. I mean, it could be the fact that the DOJ is so strapped right now that they just don't have the manpower, and they're pulling attorneys from wherever they can inside the federal government to deploy there. But it could also be, just as the readiness order that the Pentagon gave to troops before, a sign that if Trump decides to invoke the Insurrection Act, which he keeps threatening to do, that there will be, the military will be ready to step in, and that this is something that is more likely to become a reality. It's really, really concerning to me for both reasons.
But by having military attorneys on the ground, is that so that you have military attorneys on the ground telling the military what they can and can't do legally?
I think based on what we've seen so far, including the investigation into the shooting of Renee Good itself, I would think that they're there more in a defensive posture in order to protect the administration if that so happens. That would be my biggest fear. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there, but that would be my biggest fear in this sort of circumstance.
Quinta, there was really a torrent of news this week, so it's been hard to keep up with all of it. But something that did happen that is extremely profound, in my opinion, is this ICE memo that was initially obtained by the Associated Press that shows that they have given their officers carte blanche to forcibly enter people's homes without a warrant. You now have people in other states, in other public entities, hospitals, schools, who are worried that this is going to mean that officers are going to start to be able to forcibly enter their places of work, where these officers are often trying to target illegal immigrants as well. What do you think the legal boundary is here? How can people who are caretakers, teachers, what can they do to protect their students, their patients? And I mean, can you talk about the legal ramifications here for what this means? Can this hold up in a court of law?
It's a great question. I think it's hard to say precisely because there are so few ways that you can actually bring suit against an ICE agent, as we saw, in the case of Jonathan Ross. The Supreme Court and sort of various legal doctrines have essentially steadily closed off avenues through which people can bring cases to try to vindicate their rights in court. And so I think what that means is that, if ICE breaks your door down or something like that, bursts into your place of work, it's very difficult to see how you could bring that case in court, even though it instinctively feels, my rights were violated, I should be able to, have my day. I think I could imagine we might see some kind of litigation from some kind of party seeking an injunction against ICE to kind of block this kind of conduct. We saw similar lawsuits in Chicago and in Minneapolis, for example, litigation that secured court orders saying that ICE and CBP were not able to, pepper spray or harass legal observers who were simply exercising their First Amendment rights. In Minnesota, that opinion of the lower court has actually been put on hold by an appeals court while it considers the legal issues in more depth. So I think, that's it's a different set of legal questions, but I think it is representative of how, there's a long and winding road to trying to grapple with these policies.
The fact that we're even having this conversation is concerning to me.